So the eye stares, okay? Next, for hygienes, you have to have these kind of foam inside your helmet. For car and wheels, security and anti-theft, you have to have some of these nugs. So it's LUNGS, well, LUG, and then NUTS, lug nugs, the lug nugs. All right. The way you pronounce the L is flipping your tongue. The way you pronounce your N is having your tongue pushing to your teeth. Nut and lug. So it's the other way. Lug nut. Motorcycle camera mounts. So you need that. This is what I'm talking about. You can have some of these rubber tires into your wheels, and I have seen a mohawk style. So it is a spike all the way around, perfect circle that somebody might be able to manufacture. So you have to decide and know your motorcycle sports. But once again, it is very dangerous. This is a non-slip sitting pad, and at another view, why am I able to provide you with some of these valuable information that is worth at least millions on this tape? Is that I know some of the fabrication and designs elements, and even the stitching way, how to be durable for life, that you can have some of these motorcycle parts. You won't waste another minute, you won't waste another time to have a collection or a collector motorcycle in your garage in America, or possibly in Hong Kong or China. So the magic word, once again, the $1 million word is memory foam. In the spectrum of understanding of fabrics options, in textile and in rubber and plastic manufacturing, industrialist and light industrialist word, memory foam. What it is foam with sticky substance, and you buy it in a container or compound that you have to negotiate to get memory foam. It's not easy. It's a special production, each memory foam kind of production. All right. So memory foam sitting pad is what you might get. These are dropping anti-shock, or basically only dropping kind of roll cage or roll bars. Roll bar is ROLL. Roll cage is ROLL too. So it's roll bar, roll cage, or this one is saying falling protector. And let's not worry too much how the Asians might have some of the descriptions. But once it gets to the US, hey, this is called a roll bar, roll cage, or drop knob, or whatnot. So I think the Harley Davidsons and the Buell, Buell, the Buell. So that's credit to the owner, Eric Buell. So Buell motorcycles have some of these already standardized descriptions. And why some people don't like the word knob and things is because some nations, they're not as civil. So when they put their tongue at their teeth, they might get pushed, at least, or So it's better to use words that are not tongue twister. Next, you can have extra gear shifting pedal part for the brake pad, or the brake pedal onto your motorcycles. And some people don't like this, okay? A regular fairing motorcycle can be transfer pedal spacing to the rear as a flying forward speed bike. All right, so that part would be maybe this one, not even. So it might not be listed here. So you can look into the pedal. The pedal here is just folding your knee and easy dropping your foot, but you can put it so far in the back as a extra crafted kind of way. And then the pedal, instead of flipping your foot going upwards to go up a gear, you can do it, you can program it and make it, or just flip it into MotoGP style that you are stepping down to go up a gear. This is one of the best and uh, aerodynamics over 1000cc motorcycles, and it kind of make police kind of anxious whenever these comes out. So these are the this one specifically is the Suzuki Hayabusa. It is a design that enables your knee and your shin to have some kind of relaxation during high speed. You see how flaring out it is? So you have to decide on that. So this is Hayabusa. So this is the wheel template that I had talked about in the first 5 minutes of this video that you can put to your helmet, but mostly it puts onto the wheels. Uh, it is for a aerodynamics sideways. So the wind is blowing at you on the side rather than in the front. And it might be used so that all four wheels in the car is balanced. And in the motorcycle, if you're using say 16-inch in the front, 17-inch in the back, why? Just racetrack style, just to have an extra minute on the negotiating part, or to have a non-competitive with other cars. Uh, for example, the race car Lotus manufacturer does that. 18 in the front, 19 in the back. If you put 16 in the front, 17 in the back, or different tires, you're under a different category with your opponents and your rivals, the rivalries. So that's why people use weight plate. And you put it at the wheel that is usually lighter, or unless you want to do it the other way. Your combinations and options are very much more than people want to put in the files. So these are small things that you can do. Next, time mark that I had raised the motorcycle aerodynamics needs to include option for additional weight plates under the fairing on driving trips might leave a city part where building lineup, shielding, storm noise, maybe harbor shorelines or PCH1 at California shore. So the additional weight plates, these. So right now, every garage that it does or responsible for suspension should probably have some of these, okay? And you can always color code these or get the rust off. So if you get a patch or get a box that might be rusted, don't worry. That's one more learning experience that you can get the rust off. You can use it for mainly, they say tires, but you can use it for the fairing on the bottom. But if it drops, you have to report to the police on that day or within 3 days. In California, we say 48 hours that you have to report to insurance companies. So if you install one of these for your customers, you warn them, or you give them a sheet of instructions, or on your garage. Hey, I remember I put I remember I put a weight plate onto this car or motorcycle, and it might have dropped onto the road. Then you have to tell the police or the highway adoption company in California, you can adopt a highway and put a street sign. This highway is carried by, so and so corporation or enterprise. So in that way, in this manner, you have to know that on the highway, when we're sleeping from 10 o'clock, lights out, lights dim, soft music, to the next morning, 7 o'clock, the highway is full of people that might fix the streets and repave the roads. All right, so that's how it is. So 3 places you can use these way plates on a motorcycle: the wheels, the car fairing, body flares, or on your helmet, at least, or for your antenna. You can melt this to make an antenna. That's very exaggerated. Um, so these rain tires. This is a Diablo rain tires by Pirelli. Pirelli is a tire provider for the Ferrari and the Lamborghini, but Ferrari tires is named the Pirelli. If you look into these, it is very rare also that you see these on the street. The 2 lines in the middle enable the rainwater and puddle water to be straight line splashing. Who looks into the splashes of the water on the street? So you can think about that at your free time. This was the motorcycle that I had tested. I say consecutively 3,000 miles, and that's 5,000 kilometer on open on the street. If you look at the very humble meters, and that is my saying, eat dust. I don't look into meters too much. I hear the engine noise. Stock. You don't even need to change the exhaust pipe. So it just kind of. And you can listen to music, so you listen to the engine. So it's kind of a instrument that you control on the street for the enjoyment of yourself and the videotape. But you know how fast you're going. So what is dangerous is when you're in a pack of cars and you are suddenly causing a sudden lose of focus. So when I say eat dust, it's kind of a one-on-one or one-on-two kind of situation that you kind of say, hey, back off. We don't like cars driving tail. It's too dangerous. So red line, some light indicators might have odometers and RPM meters. That is light, and when you see red light, you kind of understand that to shift gear. So it is red light, red light. You shift gear first, second, and third. You can start the takeoff at second gear. Okay. If you have someone behind you, your car doesn't have a lot of horsepower. And if you ask me where I learned the gear shifting and kind of a automotive industry insider knowledge, it was by one of these Honda Civic hatchback. By demonstration, sitting in the car, and then when people are not looking, yeah, you kind of feel the engine, and then one day you get to drive it. This one is a gear shifting light. When you preset it, okay, let's talk about the gear shifting. The lowest you can shift first gear to second gear is approximately at 3,000 RPM. You can do it at 2,500, then you might, no doubt, okay, it's 3,000 RPM, you can shift the gear, no doubt. If it's less than 3,000 or way higher than 3,000 that a car is programmed, you're causing some uproars at the car automotive industry. So remember, it's 3,000 RPM. You shift the gear fast, and safer way is approximately say at 4,500. So the meter goes tilting, shift, shift. A more dramatic demonstration is and then the whistleblower of is approximately half a second. So that's how the California streets cruisers get to enjoy some of the young adults entering the hobbies and interests of automotive cruise that will eventually have piles and piles of magazines, periodicals, and written journals and photographies. So this is a light. As soon as you see that light, this is how you program. So the lowest people will program this light is at 3,000 RPM. If you go from first gear to second gear, it is easier to stall. So stall is the word. It goes and then the engine stops. Or it goes and then it stops. And then you have to go boom and restart the car and try again. So remember, it's 3,000 RPM, the lowest that you can change the gear from first to second. Or you can start it by second gear, and rather than going it'll be so it is a higher stress on the engine, and it messes up some of the manufacturer estimation how durable a typical driving of a car can be, and more excuses for your car to get into the pit crew or the service center for potential free car wash or seeing the receptionists or your sales managers. So that decides how you might use the second gear when you have when you have someone on your back. The reason why to start the motorcycle take off with the second gear is a smoother ride. Have you ever heard the word jerk? So the word jerk is from motorcycle. So if you're not as smooth with the pedaling, rather than going it goes and your entire bike kind of jerks. And that's okay, you know. There are moments that you don't feel as coordinated and you're panicking. So that's the word, panic. Or you're nervous. Alright. The meter with the seconds. This might be turbo timer too. Are you able to put a turbo in the motorcycle? Yes. But you definitely want to fix your brakes to balance it. Alright. So turbo timer. You can use the turbo twice within, say, 10 seconds. So these are some of the translations, and this will put you into the insider of automotive knowledge. And all you need to go is to the driving schools and take some hours, eventually get your car license, or if you have a US car license, you can go straight to Samshoipo. There's one that will give you an exchange or sponsor you in a way after they have a small chat with you. So some motorcycling tips information is that very much prevents accidents and quality of the complete list of understanding motorcycling consideration. Never back talk your risks. and keep focused without any flashbacks or bad motorcycle footages that you might see on YouTube or internet. Translates at 3 p.m. Alright, so this is what I put. One trick that I had done on the motorcycle mirrors, so I don't get a ticket or get a complaint, is that I had a mirror within a mirror. The mirror enables me to look at the blind spot. This one is a fully spinal cord and rib cage and elbow joint protective cover. This one is the fingertipless gloves that you can control mobile cell phones or just feeling the wind onto your fingernail gaps. This one is a leather cover neat for your motorcycle because if it is a cotton or cotton, okay, so the accent is cotton. So if it is a cotton or cotton fabric on your shoes and the aggressive shifting of the clutch might cause a hole, you need a rubber cover like this one, and people won't know too much. Rather than putting it there, you might be able to put a rubber replacement on the clutch. The entire clutch and pedal can be another molding to be racer style. Again, it's a posture. Leaning forward, leaning forward, leaning forward, leaning forward, leaning forward when you're on a motorcycle. Everyone's welcome to rephrase or reorder some of the mentioned information here, and everything is about safety. I don't want to be the person or the single person liable other than MotoGP superstars, you know who, so and so, for raising the topic of motorcycles. And let me remind you that you are in an emotional spiral or whirlpool that you want to buy a motorcycle, but you don't need a motorcycle. All right. Even if you're getting into special forces or tactical services, you do not need to ride a motorcycle. You can be the radio man, but you have to understand that is a extreme sport. Let me see what else I have to translate here. It's pretty much translated. Mile log. Honestly, it's not always correct. It's not always accurate because people can have either a device that can bypass your odometer, no read this trip, no read, special access, car manufacturer, special agent from the car manufacturing company. I drive a German car right now, Mercedes-Benz, the Daimler Chrysler Mercedes-Benz, and sometimes I feel that the odometer is not reading too well, and it tricked me once. Hey, why is my odometer going backwards? All right, so in that way, you have to understand that the mileage maintenance log is a special need. You might see extra labels onto the motorcycle if it's a set of numbers. Don't be too nosy when you're driving. Don't cause any accident or don't cause any nervousness onto a motorcyclist, or at least wait a few times. Hey, I've seen you again. Third time, you seem okay. Let's get close, sir. Closer to the motorcycle and let's get the read of the license. Or hey, you're a regular into our community. So that's the safety. So back to the special upgrades other than the mirrors. It's an entire roll cage for tricks. Alright? If you ever do a wheelie, so have you ever seen people driving the motorcycle with only the rear wheel, only the back wheel? That is called a wheelie. Okay? And that is a click, kind of uh, you know, is a special hand movement that you have to do, and it is not typical, and you have to look into WikiHow. The last time I've seen someone that had completed a writing on that. I don't teach tricks uh, riding motorcycle too much at all. Uh, translation. Okay, so there's a difference. Let me translate this really fast. So this was one of the ones I had skipped. So it talks about the differences between horsepower and torque. Torque is how much of a push of your car, and the horsepower is often described as how fast completely your car can go. Let me repeat. The horsepower is how super completely fast at top speed, and the torque is at each gear or when you step on the pedal, how much of a push behind you on the wheel, through the rear wheel or the front wheel. So torque and horsepower is two different things. But the torque relies on the horsepower rating. So once you get the horsepower at the top, without an ECU on the track or at the airport strip, you can under a dyno machine reprogram each clutch shifting to a response to outpost, output, outgo, how much torque for each gear. And with auto transmission, not the manual transmission, so in Chinese, 关波同自动波. Automatic transmission, it goes from second gear to four gear sometimes. So 自動波嘅電腦 program 好多時係由2波轉去4波. Okay? That's all. So that's how smooth. That's why how smooth some of the car responses are. Correct me if I'm wrong. 如果我講錯，可以你嘅 manufacturer 解釋點解自動波會咁順暢 為什麼? So in Chinese, so in English, why is it so smooth that some of the gear shifting for automotive auto transmission? So it's usually from second gear to fourth gear. So it's only one shift. That's all. And then if you need more torque, you have to go back to third gear to go up to on the auto transmission. So let me translate this really fast after a drink. Everybody's welcome to have a drink of water. Alright, so everybody, the translation is everybody here in the room and family or not, friends and ladies and gentlemen, everybody needs to understand that a teenager or young mechanic and engineer, of course, needs to understand that occasionally there are all kinds of driving skills and classes and skills testing and certain demonstration or performance or platform or showcase that at foreign countries or not, a 10,000, well, 100,000 miles driving experience coming back to Hong Kong as me, of course, would not have any total complete stranger to the road condition and the speedy pace of surrounding cars. And reminding everybody that if China or Hong Kong see a 150cc motorcycle might have the 150 or 250cc motorcycles on sports motorcycle is because they might need to do the following. First of all, please understand or be understanding that my Honda car, four-wheel car, was my teenager testing car and driving skills. And at keeping a 1999 Porsche Boxster convertible car, manual transmission, and high-speed highway, was able to let me understand all the engineering program onto a modern CPU, ECU included driving automotive vehicle on the road that been tested regularly on including the setting that I might have declared a loss onto another obviously manufactured design of motorcycle or car that was not supposed to have a tuning. It's supposed to be a manufacturer condition. And I had a Boxster S, so that was the fastest. Right now they have Boxster S Plus or Boxster S2, so that's another thing. And right now, the main driving skills that you will need to learn is that uh, from on the highway, from the fourth gear or fifth gear, in order to get the extra push when you're on the freeway, you have to downshift to third gear. So you go third gear, fourth, fifth, step on the clutch, put it on third, let go of your clutch, and then that's how you get the extra push on the third gear. And you know that is the driving skills that you might need on a middle class, a middleweight kind of manual transmission car. So from fourth or third gear, you have to put it back on third gear. And do not worry about too much about the gasoline if you're on the motorcycle because you don't have to ride out as much. And be understanding that the motor car or vehicle or the motorcycle is very extremely dangerous because you are not having a bumper onto your motorcycle, and that your skin and bone frame might be hit by a car with bumper. Next, you have to make a judgment each time, each season, each month, each year, your gas consumption, and then let your personal driving skills be shared to you know how you might handle your corners when you're driving your performance car. And at apex, the midpoint of your complete turn, at either the third gear or second gear in rolling speed or rolling pace, rolling setting, it's driving your wheels rolling. You're using a downshifting method or a dragging your gear method. So when sometimes people are very sensitive when people say dragging your gear. Dragging gear is usually with the speed razor term that you are at red line, but you are also keeping pace or keeping your gear. That's all. Um, and then next, you don't have to step on your brake paddles. You can simply downshift. So once again, hear me. Every time I pause, I'm shifting gear. So that is downshifting back to third gear. And you might use your second gear for some of the turns, depends. When will you use a second gear? Is when you're making a U-turn. on a motorcycle. And then next is that you have to go from 25 miles per hour to 55 miles per hour turn. Then you have to downshift to probably third. But if you have to go approximately 15 miles per hour, then you are making a second gear U-turn. And you have to be fast. Sometimes if you think you're going on third gear, but you're actually at second, then you know you might be tired and you might need a drink of soda or refreshment. And next, you have to understand that there's a chance that you might be film recorded, so that's extra reason you might stay awake, and that at 4,500 RPM, 4500 RPM, you are at third gear and driving in that manner. When are you wasting gas? You're wasting gas if your gas odometer is reading more than 3,000. If you look into your automatic version of your model car, after you start the engine, boom, you are at only 500 RPM. If you're driving, say, 1500 RPM, you're very low consumption and you can go long distance. If you're over 3000 RPM, you are already considered wasting gas. But on a motorcycle, it's about your life here on the road. And every time you go back to your garage, you can always decide to sell your motorcycle to the collection centers or the museums or the manufacturer. All right? So every time you drive your motorcycle back to your home, you can decide to, contribute to some kind of motorcycle crew or company for a showcase. All right, so that is your option. And then of course you have to focus on your diets, your diet diets and nutritions. That it has to be more clear. It has to be more that is enough for you to have the sugar content in your bloodstreams to stay awake. Remember, salt is a downer. Sugar is kind of a upper, but sugar has crystallized substance. So you have to worry about that. And then next, you have to worry about your rear tire if you're driving long distance on the highway. The rear tire is very stressed because your butt is sitting on the rear tire and everything is on the rear tire. So on my 250cc, rather than 135, 145, 155, I had upgraded that to 165 on the back. And that is without changing the frame to a wider frame. You can change it to a wider frame that goes all the way up to 200. And I had looked into the MotoGP, Valentino Rossi, Mr. MotoGP star. Don't echo on him. The star. Go, go, go. All right. And his motorcycle at 250cc had a feature of wider frame that was approximately 195 or 205. And when the dealership, the Japanese car dealership, either Honda or Kawasaki. Yeah, it was Kawasaki. I drove a Honda. So the Kawasaki dealership told me the widest they can go without changing the frame, and they don't want to change the frame for a customer here to set new trend was 165, I believe. If not, it was 155. Because I use 195 in the US on a car. So the 165 was good, and it gave me more confidence that I had done my best to risk my, specialty skills listed life on the public streets in Hong Kong in civilian clothes. That I had done my best, reasonably best, for me to make some, riskful hobbies as a young man at age 29 at the time. And then next, of course, you will need to understand that your psychological needs on your motorcycles, and if you are a young rider and you look into other driver that do not breathe the way as aggressive as you might be after a sprint or a aggressive run, they just kind of withhold their breath, or you see their face turning red and their eyes turning, out of focus and things, then not to pick on them too much, or you might want to give them advice. These are the most safety, and then you might even call the police, or you might inform the traffic police that there is a young, inexperienced driver that is becoming a hobbyist motorcycle rider, and I think everyone should care for them, either at a church or as a community, or basically just simply caring for, keep a lookout on his motorcycle colors and things, because we have undercover civilian clothes traffic platoons, right? And then next, if you ever have the fact that the wind is blowing on your left side or right side, you can use your knee to clip onto your fairing motorcycle to have what some Chinese might say, the person and the bike becomes one, kind of flexing your bones, flexing your muscles to have the aerodynamics that you need on the motorcycle going forward and going on the highway. And if your shoes and pants combination, when you're standing next to the seat, is not at your crutch. It's not at your crutch. Your crutch is your crutch is at the between your knee gap, near your groin. The groin is GROAN, 腹浪. That's Chinese. 腹浪底, 来连下. So your zipper bottom. Then you might want to stuff something inside your boots, and usually is a rubber pad that you can raise your height for approximately 1 to 2 to 2.5 inch, so that you can get on the motorcycle faster, get off the motorcycle faster. But let's not focus on that. You don't need a motorcycle. You can play video games and simulation, or wait for the Zhuhai track to open for Hong Konger trips. So let's wait, You don't need a motorcycle right now. But these are very valuable information you can use for cars and hatchback. They have some lower bikes, shorter bikes. 曳一点，电单车、摩托车也有。And if you need to adjust the height of the motorcycle, you can either do it by changing the springs or the coilovers, or by electronic damper kit. So you have to figure that out. If you don't like people riding your motorcycle, buy two. OK？ 如果你不十分支持車行用你電單車，或者借用你電單車，或者收買你電單車，就買多幾架啦。So you can buy more than one motorcycles. Maybe not under your name. Under the company name, maybe go through your name first to the company. Other translations that you might see, so I translated this one, translated the warm-up. You have to warm up yourself before you hop on the motorcycle too. And then the warm-ups is basically sweating. That's all. Have you broken a sweat? And when they say broken a sweat, is the sweat broken, formulated through the pores of your skin on your forehead. If you want a performance report of my speed or track time, it was at 2009 or 2010 by the Octopus 988-275-72-7 that I had driven from the Causeway Center 2 to Taiwan. And then in Chinese, I'll get, whoa, I got a 638 read, always and forever. No, wait, yeah, always and forever. That 275 excuse me, 988-275-7. Yeah, so that was the going to Taiwan. First, you have to, on the motorcycle, when you first get on, grip both of the handle, pulling. Left hand is the clutch, right hand is the brake. You shake the motorcycle, okay? You jerk the motorcycle to see how good the brakes are. If you can lift the bottom and you can pop the back up, extremely good brakes performance. If it skids, then you have to worry about that. So always cool down your body a little bit when you are on a break. But once you try to get back onto the motorcycle, you want to keep yourself all warmed up. I had received 2 traffic citation going at 95 on the highway, because every time I hop on the highway, I would think it is the speed limit of 100 miles per hour. 100 kilometer per hour, but it is actually 65, 75, 80 sometimes. So whatever you do, do not hurry, do not rush, but be constant and do your best on your motorcycles. If you rush yourself, then you are going off the procedures and the steps that you are trying to do sometimes. You have to understand the weight of your motorcycle and the momentum at each speed or stop. So if you're going at a momentum and so there are a few measurements, okay? There's the speed, how fast you're going. The momentum is with the weight calculating. So the speed is more visualized on the plane or on other ones, okay? On the boat it's called knots. So in the car is the speed, and then the momentum, and then velocity. The velocity is including or excluding the friction of the tires. That is the velocity, okay? So it's basically speed and momentum and velocity. That is more or less mentioned at the performance, handling, extremely dangerous kind of you need to, well, not extremely, but hey, dangerous, all right, kind of speed that you're going. Boom boom. Translated that. Remember, always estimate that your rib cage, 你嘅胸口骨, your heart covering bones might bump into the handlebar, so be careful. Translated these. Translated this. Translated. Translated. Some mastery of MotoGP kind of racetrack will tell you, once if you ever drop your motorcycle, what do you do? Be flexible to yourself. Estimate the value of the motorcycle and whatever you're carrying, and then you have to get to safety in order to make your report. So that's good. So people don't chant, I don't think, because if you chant, if I drop, I have to pick up the bike. If I drop, I might have to get some water. And then the people next to you, they go boop boop, boop boop, or they rough your engine at you. Boom boom, right next to you. Or they blast the amber at you, or hey, have you ever, go behind a car and they keep on stepping on the brakes? It's kind of like, you have to go pee. Or they might scream out the window, "Nice bike! 好美观的单车哦!" Then you lose your focus, and then you might. So it's not really. I don't really think it's a chant, but at a small town, maybe. It is a chant if it is a bicycle that you're going to school. Remember, don't talk to him, don't talk to her, kind of. Come back, come back, come back. Translated all these already. And there's one at the top that right here. There is one more translation among the driving motorcycle skills. Is that the muffler and the suspension system is hand in hand for a thorough understanding and complete understanding of the motorcycles. The radiator. So this is complete. With this one, in the picture, You have to understand that installing a high adjustable manual suspension system, you will first of all need this machine on the left, the compressing or the pusher. And then when you are looking into the suspension system, there's a line on the, okay? So right there you can see where the O and then the 0 is. Behind that there's a line, and then with that line you mark the front at the spring before you might ever twist a push. But this one is not a coilover. An example of a motorcycle coilover is maybe this one. And basically it pushes down the spring and or the shocks, and you're able to adjust the height. But it's better if you go with the standard rating of the motorcycles. The tape is still rolling, so remember there is the uh, scooter, there is the dirt bike, there is the street cruiser, there is the fairing, and then there is the custom motorcycles, there is the all-terrain motorcycles, and then there is the other categories. Okay, if you are not tall enough for a fairing motorcycles, it's probably better for you to write some letters and ask for permission and ask for special attention for your time investment and why you want to be taller than sports bike. All right, that's all. Have fun. And this is mostly going back to Los Angeles and California, Sacramento. And Sacramento is the capital city of California State. The best riding cities are uh, California, uh, Texas, Miami, the plain, the kind of the flat land, and then all terrain. You can ride your motorcycle, but the investment is too high. The motorcycle is kind of a hobby, second hobby that you might like. So it is good idea to only test your tires uh, with people and with the roll cage. All right. That's all.